Many of you have probably tried Halo, or at least know Halo from your experience as a gamer, but what many might not know is that Halo actually started out as a real-time strategy game back in the days. Now, more than 10 years later, this concept of the game has finally been realized with the talented and very legendary strategy developers Ensemble Studios, which many of you might know from the Age of Empires games. And a couple of years ago, they actually started taking one of their past games and trying to make it work on a console, adjusting the controls and the gameplay to really make it fit. And it's the result of this prototyping that we see today in Halo Wars, and it is amazing how they've nailed the controls. They've really built on past experiences from the Command & Conquer series on the Xbox as well. But they've fine-tuned the controls in a really great way and also built the gameplay from the ground up for a console, so it really fits the type of environment you're playing on, and it works incredibly well. I was never once frustrated about how I would control my army around, and within a matter of minutes I quickly were able to go from groups and groups back to my base, build new buildings and control my army around attacking the enemy. And with the D-pad you can easily navigate from different bases and from different armies. All of this control and gameplay essence has then been put into this Halo franchise, which actually, as I said, started out as an RTS, and it fits incredibly well inside of this universe. You have these massive armies of soldiers and of tanks and of warthogs on one side, and then the Covenants with their more extreme buildings and more extreme vehicles on the other side. And when you see these come together in massive battles, it's simply amazing. What Halo Wars does exceptionally well is actually replicating the feeling that you get from the other Halo games. And not only that, it's also creating an enormously good feeling when you order your army around and when you set them to attack and destroy enemies and buildings. But you really become this warmonger that just wants to keep on destroying and destroying until there's nothing left. And you want to build up extremely big armies and take down the enemy with a single blow.
Moving!
Team is victorious.
One of the weak points of the game is the artificial intelligence. It's both in the way that units are sometimes navigating, since they cannot always find a way and sometimes will drive into each other, but also the artificial intelligence of the enemy. It's not always the best, and there can be easy to figure out depending on the difficulty. But once you get multiplayer rolling and gets to play against human opponents, it's really a blast, and there's so much strategy in this seemingly simple game. Because one of the things they've really done is be able to create a simple experience and give it a lot of depth. You have limited choices in the buildings you can build and where you can build them and the units you can build and the upgrades you can give them. But in combination it gives a lot of choices and a lot of interesting choices, which is one of the most profound abilities of a RTS game. In the game, in Halo Wars, you can actually only build bases at certain locations. And in these locations you can only build a limited amount of buildings on these bases. So you have to value which kind of buildings do you want. Do you want the resource buildings or the tech buildings or the production buildings? And if you want more than you can actually build, then you have to expand. And then you have to judge how do you want to send out your army, and you will automatically become more vulnerable as you attack or as expand, of course. And there's a lot of choices that may seem simple, but you still have to value them and say, do you want to use resources to upgrade or to build armies or to expand so you can create the foundation of a far bigger army in the future? And it gives the game a lot of strategy that you don't necessarily need to be micromanaging to attain. My biggest criticism with the game, even though it might seem unfair, is actually the lack of both the Covenant and the Flood as playable races. The Covenant is playable both in skirmish and in multiplayer, but there's only a human campaign consisting of 15 missions. And while it's neither too short, neither too long, I would really have wanted to see a Covenant campaign, because it is a very different type of gameplay the Covenant provides, and they're very interesting to play. So also playing it from the Covenant's perspective would have been really, really great and added a lot to the game. But the biggest lack is actually that the Flood is not a playable race at all. You do encounter them during both campaign and in some skirmish levels, but they're only controlled by the computer. But from what I see, they actually do have buildings and different unit types, and they would have been so interesting to play as, because they're really different from the two others. And if Ensemble had done this, they would have actually created this three-way that StarCraft also provided. And as many of you know, StarCraft is perhaps the most interesting and perhaps the best RTS game of all time. And I would without doubt say that if Ensemble had included the Covenant and especially the Flood as a playable race, both in campaign and skirmish, this could have been the StarCraft of consoles.